So once you convince yourself that I have gotten this love, uh, or Jesus is my answer, or Kali is my answer, or Krishna is my answer. So once you convince yourself that this Ishtadevata, this deity is my answer, then every person has the potential to go to the truth. It need not be Kali Yuga, Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga doesn't matter. You convincing your mind matters. Like how well you convince your mind that I am satisfied, I am loved, my Ishtadevata or the favorite deity is right next to me and loves me very much. So that is what it depends on.
Aditya Nayak, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Well, maybe the best place to begin is a little bit with your show, Project Kali, and your journey into the show. How did this all begin?
So this began in 2023, January 2023, when I first landed to US. That is when I was in India. I used to believe in deities, but not that much. That is, I was just like a normal follower of deities because our parents, like how in US parents force us to go to church. Same way here in India, parents force us to go to temple, and so I was just a normal kid going to temple and just praying to the deities and coming out of the temple, just a normal day. But after I landed to US, I felt that lack of love, that is lack of friends, lack of like social connection, because I was not very good in making friends in like all over that is both US, India. I was not good at making friends, and that's how I started connecting with deities. That is because that to fill that lack of love, I started connecting with entities which were not humans. So basically, I didn't know how to connect with humans, and that's why I started connecting with these so-called deities. I didn't know who they are. I didn't know what they are. I just wanted to feel some love. So to feel that love, I started chanting their names. So Kali has a mantra called Om Krim Mahakalikaya Nama. So there is a mantra for Kali. There is a mantra for Krishna, Om Klim Krishnaya Namaha. And there is a mantra for Shiva, that is Om Namah Shivaya. And so on. That is, there are multiple deities in Hinduism. For Ganapati, it is Om Gam Ganapate Nama. So for every deity, there is a way of connecting called as mantras. And that's how I started. So we have something called Japmala. So I will show a Japmala here. So this is a Rudraksh Mala. So Rudraksh is a tree. So if you see this, uh, all these beads, right, are the seeds of that Rudraksh tree. So what they do is they make a hole in the seed and they make a mala out of it. So there is 108 beads in this Rudraksh Mala. And they use this Rudraksh Mala to meditate because meditating on the silence is too tough. That is, wait a minute. Yeah. So meditating on the silence is too tough a job. That is, whenever we sit for meditation, we cannot go to that silent state directly, like how Buddhist monks do. So in Hinduism, there is a set of mantras to go to that silent state. So what we call that silent state is Brahman. So the Brahman is that vibrationless state of consciousness, which is the original state where the consciousness doesn't do anything. So the consciousness is at rest in the Brahman. So from that resting state, all this world gets created. That is, whenever the mantra is chanted, like Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So all these mantras generate this universe. So whenever the consciousness starts vibrating with mantras, that time the universe gets generated. So that is what is told in Hinduism. And that is why I started doing the sadhana of all these mantras. Sadhana meaning you have to hold this japmala, like you have to hold it like this and start chanting. Let's say for Shiva, it is Om Namah Shivaya. So Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So it goes on and ends back to the same beat, that is the starting beat. So there, that 108 count is complete. So that's how I completed the sadhana. Sadhana meaning completing 108 beats of all the deities, and I started conversing with them. So basically, we consider these deities as the controllers of universe. That is, so-called causal beings. They can create this universe just by just one thought. That is, if you store your ojas meaning it's like a kundalini energy. So whenever we eat food, that kundalini energy gets converted to sexual energy. So from there, it goes to the upper chakras. So these energy, if stored for millions of years, can create universes. That is, if this ojas, that is the potent energy created by the food, if it is stored for millions of years, it can create universes. So that is how deities are creating universes, by storing their so-called ojas. So this way, the deities are like more powerful than a normal human. So that is why I wanted to connect with such entities which are like way more powerful than normal humans. And that is how I learned about all this knowledge called Kundalini, Sadhana, Ojas, and all these terminologies I came to know because of these deities. That is, when they started conversing with me, I realized how the universe was created and all that stuff. So it all began from that lack of love that I felt when I reached US. Because here in India, I used to take everything for granted. That is, I used to take my parents for granted, my friends for granted, the deities, the temples, everything I took it for granted. That is, I didn't value it so much, because when you have something in surplus, we don't value it. But when that something surplus that becomes zero, that time you start valuing it. So that is what happened. When I went to US, I missed the temples, I missed the festivals, I missed my own culture, and that is why I started falling in love with all these entities which I used to ignore in India. Um, so yeah, this is how my journey started, and it maximized during my Kundalini awakening. That is, if you might have heard that some people get Kundalini awakening while doing psychedelic drugs like LSD. So they feel that Kundalini awakening, that is receiving the frequencies of other realm, basically. But we can feel those frequencies of other realm even while doing sadhana. That is, when you chant all the mantras, you can feel that psychedelic effect without doing any drugs. So that is what I felt when I did sadhana, and I experienced the Kundalini awakening, and I was able to reach that silent state, which Buddhist people call as nirvana. So during that nirvana state, the whole world disappears, and that is what I was targeting. That is all my journey. I was targeting the truth where everything disappears. So we basically call this as a dream. That is, whatever is going on in front of you as a dream. So when that dream disappears, you stay in the truth, called as Brahman. Brahman in Hinduism, Nirvana in Buddhism, and there are many words for that vibrationless state in different religions. So that was my goal, to promote that truth on YouTube by giving it different terminologies. So yeah, this is how my journey started.
Quite the story. I'm curious about the choice of gods in Hinduism. You talked about kind of you chose Kali or whatever there. Just you started there. How does someone go about choosing the right god to like approach or get in contact with?
Yeah, so basically in Hinduism there is a concept called Ishtadevata. So Ishtadevata meaning favorite deity. So it can be anything. That is, every person will have their own Ishtadevata. So in Hinduism there is a Jyotisha Shastra. Jyotisha means astrological charts. So every person will have a D20 chart. So in that D20 chart, you will get to know who is your favorite deity. It is all based on at what time you were born, at what date you were born. So date of birth, time of birth, place of birth matters. So from there, if you extrapolate, you will get to know your D20 chart. From that D20 chart, you can get to know your Ishtadevata, meaning favorite deity. So each person will have their own favorite deity, which we will not know. That is our Atman meaning soul, is connected to one particular deity. For example, in a Christian's life, Jesus may be the Ishtadevata, that is favorite deity. For a Muslim, that is for a Muslim, Allah may be the favorite deity. For someone born in Bengal, West Bengal, Kali might be the favorite deity. For someone born in North India, Himalayas, Shiva might be the favorite deity. For someone who was born in maybe Vrindavan, Krishna might be the favorite deity. So it all depends on where you were born, and that is how you determine who is your favorite deity. So there is no judgment here. That is because every person will have their own set of favorite deities, and no one is above or below. That is because to reach that vibrationless state, that is the truth, Brahman, where there are no dreams. To reach that vibrationless state, you can take the help of any higher beings. So there is no one like higher and lower. It's basically a love story. That is, let's say, in Titanic, Jack and who was that?
Rose. Rose.
Rose. Yeah, so Jack and Rose, and Romeo and Juliet. Let's say two couples, but Romeo is not suitable for Rose. Similarly, Jack is not suitable for Juliet. So what that means is every person has to fall in love with this the deity who was meant to be in their life. They are not meant to follow some other deity, because it is deeply connected with your soul, that favorite deity, right? It is very uh, much in love with you. For example, I will show my background. So there are many deities here. So this is Krishna, and this is Ganapati. This is Subramanya, and this is Lalita Tripura Sundari. Those three deities
Yeah.
are Lalita Tripura. And this is Narasimha here. So Narasimha. So there are various deities, and each deity will have different love story with the humans, because we consider humans as the descended self. So in the causal realm, every person is a deity. But when we descend from the causal realm to the physical realm, which is made of the five sensory frequencies, we descend into the human form. That is, whenever we vibrate in the causal realm frequency, we go to the deity form. That is, they are our higher self. So if you wake up in the morning, that is 4 a.m., and start doing sadhana, you will vibrate at causal frequency. So when you vibrate at causal frequency, you get in touch with your causal self. So basically, every person, every soul will have three bodies. One is the causal body, then is the astral body, then is the physical body. So when you have the physical body, you're in your human form, and when you're in your astral body, you're an astral being. And when you're in a causal body, you're the deity themselves, that is the higher self, like Kali, Krishna, and all that. So if you go beyond that, if you go beyond the causal realm, you go to that vibrationless state where you are no one. That is, your mind itself extinguishes. The ego that you call as James Justin disappears. So everyone becomes one in the Brahman. That is the vibrationless state.
Is there a feeling there? Like, is there a reason to, like, that be something that people are aiming to get to, or is it just a thing that you can do if you want to do it?
Well, in that state, there is no emotions, there is no thoughts, there is no intellect, there is no universe, there's nothing. Basically, some religions are aiming after that. Like Buddhism, the whole aim of Buddhism is to reach nirvana. Nirvana meaning that state where there are no thoughts. So the reason you are there in this world is because you have thoughts. You are not able to stop the thought processes. Now, if I tell you to close your eyes, and if I tell you stop thinking, you'll not be able to stop thinking for more than maybe 5-10 seconds. After 10 seconds, some thought will come in your mind, and that is why you exist in this world, because your consciousness is continuously generating thoughts. The moment your consciousness learns how to stay silent, the whole universe disappears.
Do you have something that you want to add? A question you want to ask here?
Um, I was I was thinking about what you said about the love story thing, and for most of my life, or for a good chunk of my life, I was a Christian, and Jesus was that deity that you're talking about. And in Christian church, you look at some of the hymns, and they read like a love story. Like it'll be like Jesus, 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 name above all names. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like they're like love songs to Jesus. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about how some people like what would have happened if you didn't have that love affair with those deities. You know, you like talk about something a lot of people can relate to, which is a kind of loneliness. You went to a new country and you're having trouble connecting with people. Like, did those deities that you reached out to, did they save you in that moment with things? What would have happened if you didn't turn towards those deities, and what would happen to people if they didn't have sweet Jesus to pray to, or Allah or whatever? I'm just thinking about that. You know, you asked me what I'm thinking of, and that was something that was rattling around in my head. The necessity of that, and then as you said, you go up and you can get in more and more communion with these things all the way till you are them. And then the idea of going beyond that and being that sort of silent oneness that is not comprised of thoughts. It's like a no thingness or something, and how that reflects so many religions, like even theology within certain sects of Christianity seem to get to this like unity with God thing. But it's not reflected in every presentation of religion. Like some religions are highly ritualistically based, and they you know, and there'll be repeated ritual type things to just, I don't know, they seem to me to like help you be sane in some way, or satisfy some kind of aspect of the mind. And just so many things you said were interesting, like the idea of the nature of the mind and the things that we do to deal with that, and then the ultimate potential outcomes. And you mentioned Buddhism and how they're after this state of no mind, but that's the obliteration of your perception as a reality and stuff like that. I'm literally just rambling. Did I say anything of interest in there? Can you spitball off anything I said?
Yeah, you're right. Like you asked about what is the significance of this love, of falling in love with such deities.
Does it have a saving nature? Does it save people from profound loneliness? Does it save people from, like, if they didn't have that, man, things could have gotten bad?
So how we can understand this concept is through the origin point. So through the origin is the thoughtless state. From the that vibrationless state, let's say a thought generates. Obviously, the thought whatever generates from the original state of your consciousness would be love. So other than love, there would be no other thoughts. So obviously, whenever you think, the first thought that generates will be of your favorite person or favorite item or a thing. So let's say you were in that thoughtless state. Let's say you attained that thoughtless state and you are in that nirvana. But now, in that nirvana, let's say a thought generates for your consciousness. So you think about the most favorite person. Let's say it might be your own mother or own
Mm.
daughter or own brother. So whatever it may be, you're thinking about this favorite person. So that is how the universe splits. So from that desireless state, it gets splitted into love, the most favorite loved one, and you. So that is how the universe splits, and it keeps on splitting. That is, so many consciousness from the Brahman keeps on splitting into the loved one and the loving. That is, the adored one and the adored one and the adoring. So it keeps on splitting, and that is how so many humans, so many astral beings, so many causal beings get formed. But if you shrink this love, that is, if you give yourself that love which you lacked, then you will go back to the source. So basically the reason why you are existing is because of some lack of love. So if you
Hmm.
satisfy that lack of love within you by showing yourself the love, or by convincing yourself that you are loved, there's no need of searching for anyone. If you tell yourself, I am loved, I love myself, and the whole reality is being created because I didn't love myself back then. So if you convince yourself that, then you will go to that point of origin again. Because that is what happened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa also. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa is a saint who fell in love with Kali. So what he did was, he loved her more than himself. That is, uh, he was doing her sadhana. He was thinking about Kali his whole life while eating food. Before eating food, he gave the bite of the food to Kali first. Then he ate himself. So that was the amount of love he had towards Kali. Even he didn't consider his own wife as high as Kali, because he loved her so much. But one fine day, enlightened being came into Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life, and he told that just chop her off. So whoever you're seeing in the mind, just chop her head off. So that is what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did. So his Kundalini was concentrated in the Anahata Chakra, that is the chakra of love. It was so expanded, so big, his love energy, that is the Ojas. Suddenly, when he killed the feminine figure in his mind, his love energy shifted to the upper chakras. So it blew like a rocket. It blew to the upper chakras, to the Sahasrara. So Sahasrara is where all the love dies. So whatever love you were lacking back here, that will get nullified, because this is the chakra of truth. So when the energy rises and goes to the chakra of truth, all thoughts, all loved ones disappear. But when it is in the below chakras, that is when it is in the Muladhara meaning the lowermost chakra. So that is the chakra which makes you crave for food, and there is Swadhisthana chakra which makes you crave for sex, and there is Manipura chakra here which makes you crave for fame, wealth, and all that. And this is the chakra, Anahata chakra is the chakra which makes you crave for love. This is the chakra which makes you crave for communication. And Agna chakra is the one which makes you crave for thinking. All your thought processes are generating because you have a desire to think. So that is why this Agna chakra is there. And finally, Sahasrara chakra is the chakra which craves for truth. So that is what happens to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Once his lack of love was satisfied by Kali, and finally, when he chopped that feminine figure off in the mind, it went to the Sahasrara chakra and he attained Samadhi. So, Samadhi is the state of uh, your own soul where it stops dreaming. So, all this Maya that is going on in front of you, it stops happening in the Samadhi state.
You talked a lot about love, and here's a basic, simple question, which is probably also at the same time super complex. But from your perspective, what is love, and what is love in Hinduism?
Love is basically doing something for others before you do it for yourself. That is, let's take the example of food. So if you love someone or something, you would feed that person or that animal before you eat. So that is how you love through the Muladhara chakra, that is by sharing food before you consume it yourself. Basically selflessness. So the other name for love is selflessness. And let's say in the act of sex, you care about the other person's pleasure than your own pleasure. So if you are having sex for your own pleasure, then that is lust. But if you're having sex for your partner's pleasure, then that is love. And then when it comes to Manipura, when you're earning money or getting fame for providing for your family or for providing for your wife, children, parents, then you're using your Manipura chakra for love. For example, Hanuman, there is a very magical being called Hanuman in Hinduism in the Ramayana era. So that is in the Treta Yuga, the time period of Ram, that is Vishnu's avatar, Ram. So during that era, there was a lover, lover monkey called as Hanuman. So he loved Ram very much. So whatever he did, it was for Ram. So he had something called as Ashtasiddhis. Ashtasiddhis means he had superpowers like flying in the air, becoming small, becoming big, becoming invisible. There are so many magical powers called Ashtasiddhis when you activate the Manipura chakra. So this chakra of motivation has lot of superpowers. So Hanuman had activated all those superpowers. Even Ravan, that is the villain of Ramayan, the demon king, even he had Ashtasiddhis. Even his Manipura chakra was completely activated. But the only difference between Ravan and Hanuman was Ravan used those Ashtasiddhis to harm others. That is, he used it to show that he is more powerful than others. But Hanuman used the Ashtasiddhis to serve Ram, to serve his loved one. So that is the difference between Hanuman and Ravan. They both had a completely activated Manipura chakra, but one used it for proving himself that he is the greatest king of the whole world, whereas the other person used it for serving his own loved one. That is how you show love through the Manipura chakra. And Anahata chakra itself is love. So there is nothing to prove here. Anahata chakra itself is selfless. So that chakra promotes other chakras to be selfless. So if your Anahata is strong, it channelizes the kundalini to the other chakras and makes it selfless. It doesn't let the lower chakras be selfish, because the lower chakras have the tendency to be selfish. That is, if you see in cats or other animals, they don't care about their offspring. I'm not talking about all animals. There are some animals which care about their own food before serving it to their friends or family or children. They consider their own nutrition before serving it for others. But when it comes to dogs, cows, humans, they share food. They don't care about themselves, they care about others. So that is how Anahata Chakra is strong in advanced beings. But when it comes to animals, their Muladhara is strong. Muladhara is the desire for food is stronger than their desire for love. So that is why they don't share food. And that is how evolution happens. That is, as the chakras, new chakras get added up in the evolution, a being, a consciousness learns how to be selfless because of the Anahata Chakra development. So after Anahata Chakra, this Vishuddha Chakra is developed. That is the chakra of speech. So if you observe, animals cannot speak as peculiarly, as specifically like humans do. Like humans can communicate with complete details because of the developed Vishuddha Chakra, the throat chakra, whereas animals have not that developed Vishuddha Chakra. But when it comes to the astral beings, they have completely activated Agna Chakra. So astral beings can communicate through telepathy. So in the astral realm, nobody talks through the Vishuddha, nobody makes sound. There are no sounds in the astral realm. They just speak through the Agna, just by thought processes. So if one astral being has to communicate with the other astral being, he just has to think that I want to do this activity with you, and the other astral being will get the message and he will reciprocate. So that is how they communicate through Agna Chakra. They consider the lower chakras as useless, like how a human considers the lower chakra, lower three chakras as selfish or useless. Same way, the astral beings consider the Vishuddha Chakra and all the lower chakras as useless. But when it comes to the causal beings, they even consider the Agna Chakra as useless because they don't think, because they are always in search of truth. They are always thinking how to relieve karma, how to stop thinking. So that is what a causal being goal is, to stop the thought processes. So that is how the evolution happens from Muladhara Chakra, that is of animalistic tendencies, to the Sahasrara Chakra, that is of a causal being's tendency.
I really appreciate the thorough answers that you're providing here. We've done like a lot of reactions on Hindu gods like that, and it seems to be up in the air sometimes with the comments that we get of how many actual gods are there. From your understanding, how many gods are there?
As I told, every person has their own higher self, but you have to know that the population decreases as you ascend. That is, it starts from the Brahman. Brahman is the original state. From there, it splits into Ishtadevata, that is the adored one and the adoring. So from two, it splits into many. That is, it keeps on splitting until it reaches humans, animals. So in humans, if you see, there is like billions of population. In animals, there are more. So that is how, as you descend to the lower chakras, the population increases. But as you ascend, the population decreases. So obviously, the number of deities will be less than the number of humans. So deities are basically something which you love. That is, if you love Jesus in certain way, that is, your name is James, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yours is Justin. Yeah. So if James loves Jesus in a certain way, that Jesus might not be same as what Justin loves. So Justin loves Jesus in a different way. So the Jesus which James loves and Justin loves will have its own counterpart in the causal realm. It will not be the same. But as you ascend, all that higher selves will, uh, what to say, will collapse, will merge and become one.
But you can still kind of like cross pollinate. You don't have to necessarily stick with the higher self. You can cross over and other gods you can make connection with. It doesn't have to just be with the one that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, it all depends on what is your D20 chart, that is the astrological chart. So, based upon that, the exact deity or Ishtadevata can be determined.
Yeah. It also seems like God seemed to show up for certain circumstances, uh, like over the years. Like there's different ages. Apparently, you're supposed to be in the age of Kali Yuga right now, right?
Hmm.
And like I'm fascinated with like do gods are gods kind of also meeting people where they're at, what they're going through, because I'm kind of thinking of modern society right now. We seem to be living in an age of fear, while at the same time, an age of maybe consciousness enhancement. People are starting to question things and personally develop in certain facets. Is there a God that's best suited for the day and age that we're living within?
Um, there is no deity which is better than your Ishtadevata. So, let's say the closest deity to my heart is Kali, but the closest deity for, let's say, you is Jesus. So, for you, Jesus itself is the deity or a being who will take you towards the truth. It cannot be Kali. But for me, Kali itself is the answer to go to that vibrationless state.
Hmm.
Jesus cannot take me because it all depends on how you splitted from that vibrationless state. If I didn't split into Kali and myself, then I cannot take her help. That is only if I split it into Kali and myself, only then I can go back to that origin through her help. So it's basically like you have to fall in love with the person meant for you. You cannot choose some other person's wife or husband. Uh, that loved one is determined, it's predestined, and only they are the answer for your lack of love. So once they come into your life, that lack of love completely satisfies. Only then you will be able to tell, I am satisfied. I no longer need to see this dream again and again. So basically, you're waking up every morning into this dream because you're lacking love. So every time you sleep in the night, you go to the origin, that is the state where all the minds disappear. So you go to that thoughtless state in the sleep, but then you come back to this dream because you're still in search of love. So once you convince yourself that I have gotten this love, uh, or Jesus is my answer, or Kali is my answer, or Krishna is my answer. So once you convince yourself that this Ishtadevata, this deity is my answer, then every person has the potential to go to the truth. It need not be Kali Yuga, Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga doesn't matter. You convincing your mind matters. Like how well you convince your mind that I am satisfied, I am loved, my Ishtadevata or the favorite deity is right next to me and loves me very much. So that is what it depends on. That is how well you
That's
convince your mind
that's
that
it. That's
you are
very
loved.
interesting what you said there. The idea of how well you how well you convince your mind of that till it becomes a reality, till you enter into the reality of that.
Mm,
I'm not a Christian. Like I'm not actually a Christian. I grew up in a Christian household, and I've got a lot of family that's still Christian.
mm,
But what I was very kind of creepily when I was singing that hymn earlier, trying to do was I was trying to evoke the sense of first. I don't know how many if you've ever even been in a Christian church, but I was reflecting. I was trying to reflect the idea of stoking the fire of love and belief. Like from a young age, we'd go to Bible study and or Sunday school, and then in the actual service there was these songs that evoke that. It's a repeating of that and a repeating of the deeds of Jesus and singing and repeating like a mantra the story of Jesus having love for us and then love for them. I'm not a Christian. I'm not actually any religion. And some habits die hard. It actually took a while. There's episodes of this show where I'm like, I still pray to Jesus. But I don't do so much of that anymore for my own reasons. But what was I gonna say? It's all these distinctions, even the distinction between love and hate, or the distinction between self. We talked about selflessness earlier, and there's a story that I think about every now and then. I've brought it up so many times on this, and it involves the Buddha. And he's walking through the jungle with his disciples, and he comes across a tiger mother that can't feed her cubs, and he feeds himself the tiger mother so that it has milk to feed the babies. And he kind of departs from his followers, and they're like, where are you going? And he's like, I'll catch up with you. And he feeds himself to this tiger. And I was thinking, like, the idea of that being selfless. But I think a lot of times people don't honor the body as a part of what you could be selfless towards. It's like, can't you, like, this old meat suit has got me through a lot of stuff. And scientifically speaking, it's made up of all kinds of bacteria. It's like a whole galaxy itself of beings in making this body. And I'm just trying to break open the idea of notions of like service or self-service. And I wonder, in one sense, obviously it's possible to be selfish, but in another sense, I wonder if it even is possible to be selfish. Buddha could have easily fed himself the tiger and sustained himself instead of sustaining the tiger. I mean, his disciples at that time probably would have been appreciative if he didn't feed the tiger to save it and instead saved himself. These questions are just coming up to my mind as we discuss these things, and the notion of, what you said in terms of that the love you have for that deity. Like, what if I see you loving your deity, and I'm like, I want to be in love with your deity, like your one that you've got a love affair with. I want that one. You know what I mean? Do you ever come across that kind of weirdness? You ever come across that kind of a oddball question?
Yeah, we can shift to any deity, and it's all destined. That is, whatever you're gonna do the next moment is destined. If you're gonna choose Kali as your favorite deity, or Krishna, or Shiva, everything is destined. There is no accidents or coincidences going on here. Everything is meant to happen as it should happen, because it is just a dream, and how the dream will end is certain. There is no uncertainty, because at the end of the day, at the end of every dream, uh, Brahman is the end, Brahman is the start. That is, the thoughtless state is the start, and thoughtless state is the end. So
Mm.
whatever is going on in the middle, that is the dream Maya, dream Leela. We call in Hinduism, we call it as Maya Leela. Maya Leela meaning the play of the mind. So all that is going on in the middle is the play of the mind. So whatever you think, whatever you're gonna fall in love with. For example, Buddha, you told he fed the tiger. He knew that was how he sacrifices his physical body. because he knew the truth. That is, he is not the body, he is the consciousness. To put it in simple words, the reason you call your body as you is because you see in the mirror every day. That is, the mirror is the reason why you think you are the body. That is your five senses. That is the eyes, nose, tongue, skin, and ears convinces your consciousness that this structure is you.
Here I
But
am.
imagine you don't have the five senses. Imagine you just have the consciousness. Then it wouldn't know that I am this body. It's just because of the five senses and mirror that you're convincing, that is the reflection, you're convincing yourself that this is the body. Once you realize that you're not James or you're not Justin, the James, Justin, Aditya, they just are a part of a dream. So there is a huge dream going on, created by the causal being of this universe. So causal beings are basically way advanced human beings. That is, human beings, after they do meditation for millions of years, they become causal beings. So these causal beings, after storing ojas for millions of years, they create stable dreams, stable dream structures. So that is what we are inside right now. That is, we are inside a stable dream structure created by a causal beings. So in Hinduism, we call that causal being as uh, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Vishnu meaning a dreamer, Garbhodakshaya meaning it is inside the womb of the mother. So what we consider is there is the whole universe is the womb of the mother, and inside the universe there are dreamers called Vishnu who are dreaming of these stable universes. Because if you observe, when you dream, that is when you go to sleep at night and when you dream, you're not able to create stable dreams. The reason is because your ojas is not strong enough. That is, the ojas that you stored is not enough to create stable dreams. That's why immediately when you are afraid of something inside the dream, you pop it. That is, you pop it and come back to a stable dream. So you come to a dream which is stable. The reason it is stable is because the causal being has stored the ojas and created it in such a way that any amount of fear or any amount of anxiety, stress will not pop it. But we are not that strong. That is the we are in Hinduism we are called as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. That is the baby Vishnus, baby dreamers. The human beings, astral beings, are called baby dreamers. The reason we are called baby dreamers is because we are not able to create stable dreams. We create fearful dreams, nightmares. We create dreams which are easily perishable. And that is how uh, we are assigned to be this Kshirodaksha Vishnu, small dreamers. And um, once you learn, right, how to create a stable dream, then you can easily create a dream for your own, to fulfill your own desire. That is, let's say you have a desire to be a king of the whole world, so you can create a dream, a stable dream where you are the king of the whole world. So that is what a causal being is doing. So a causal being, he satisfies his last desires. So he has last desires like, I want to be the king of this planet. So that is what he does. He creates a beautiful planet, and in that planet he becomes the king, and then his dream perishes away. That is, it disappears. So that is what is happening even in this dream. That is, this dream is soon gonna end. That is, once the Kalki avatar, that is the causal being's avatar, is gonna come to this planet, and once he establishes dharma meaning righteousness inside the dream, then this dream is gonna perish away. That is, he's gonna end the whole dream structure, then we will go back to the original state of the consciousness. So that is how we are a part of this Maya Leela, that is mind's play.
But this thing looks like it's cyclical. Like once that whole process happens again, it's all just to restart all over again and do the same thing again. Like it will recreate itself and go through the whole process for infinity. Is that what's happening?
Correct. It is a memory. Basically, whatever is going on is just a memory of your consciousness. So you are going back to that old self. So basically, the characters, that is James, Justin, Aditya, and all the characters from Donald Trump, Kali, Krishna, Vishnu, Modi ji, everyone, every character in this dream is just a memory for that Brahman, for that vibrationless state. All these characters, all the animals, plants, birds are just like a thought process. So it goes back to the memories, and it goes back to its original state. At night time, that is when we sleep, we go back to our original state. Then when we wake up, we come back to our memory. So we are scanning our memory basically right now.
Do you
Yeah.
think we're close to Kalki's return? Do you think we're living in the last days?
Correct. That is, the causal being will make his entry, and he will establish a dharma. That is, whatever wrong is going on inside his dream, he will rectify it. Then he'll go back to dreaming. So, for example, if you were dreaming, you would obviously make yourself the main character, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing is going on.
And Kalki is the avatar of Vishnu, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
but is Kalki considered a god or just another entity, like a humanoid, with superpowers or something?
So when you enter your own dream, you would obviously give yourself some powers, and that is how you would enter a dream. So he will have a lot of powers.
But at the end of the day, he's still Vishnu and he's still the god.
I don't consider Vishnu as God. I consider every one of us as God.
Huh.
Uh, that is, everyone are the that Brahman or the supreme consciousness. We just enter this Maya Leela to be the characters of his dream. So we knock the door of the causal being. That is, we tell, I want to be in your stable dream because I myself am not strong enough to create stable dreams. So that's why, please let me inside your dream. So that is what happens before your birth. That is, your soul cries for help. It tells, I want to be born in a stable dream. I can't handle this chaos. So that is why Vishnu, what he does is, he puts all the small souls into his own dream, into a character. And the problem what happens is, the consciousness thinks I am the character. So that is where we get fooled. We think I am Aditya, I am James, I am Justin, but that is not the truth. This character belongs to Vishnu. For example, now let's say you wrote a beautiful story of so many characters, like let's say Game of Thrones. So whoever wrote Game of Thrones has created so many characters. And let's say the writer of Game of Thrones, he puts all the consciousness into the characters. Now the consciousness has to not consider that they are the characters. They are just the actors in the movie. That is, they are not really the characters. They are just playing the role of the character. So the actor must never forget that he's just acting. He should always remember his original state. Um, like how Chris Hemsworth, he played the role of Thor. So he should not forget that he is Chris Hemsworth. That is, he should know that he is not Thor. Thor is just a role play given to him by the directors.
Sometimes that happens to those actors. They get so into a role that, like, you see interviews months later. I'm not saying that's what he did, but they're still like struggling with that character because they got so deep into it.
The more immersive sometimes, or the harder that they went trying to gather that role.
Yeah, like Heath Ledger as the Joker, or that guy that played Elvis. You know what I mean? He's like, I can't shake off this Elvis role. Maybe it was working for him.
We've talked a bit about consciousness here. I always like to ask our guests whenever we're talking about consciousness, from your understanding, like what is consciousness in a maybe you can explain it in a way for our audience who's not all Hindu. There's people from many walks of life that watch our channel. What would be the best way to kind of describe what actual consciousness is?
Consciousness is like a powerhouse of intelligence. So it has the complete potential to create multiple universes. At the same time, it has the complete potential to sustain universes. By universes, I mean dreams, dream structures. And at the same time, it has complete potential to destroy all the universes. By destroy, I mean destroy all the thought processes. So it has complete power to create, sustain, and destroy. So that is what consciousness is. It's basically a powerhouse of intelligence. If you see in Iron Man, Jarvis,
Yeah.
it's like a consciousness. Whatever activity you tell it to do, like build a aircraft, build a bodysuit, it creates. At the same time, if Tony Stark tells Jarvis to destroy the suits, it will destroy all the suits, armors. So that is what a consciousness is. So now the consciousness has taken the role of Aditya, James, Justin, and so many other characters in this dream. And it has complete potential to leave the character also. Because this is like a written play. That is, James will meet Justin in this time. Aditya will do interview with James and Justin. Everything is predestined. It's like a written play. And the consciousness just enters the characters to watch the movie. The movie is already pre-written. How is it gonna end? How is it gonna start? The consciousness just enters the characters to watch the movie. So basically, we are watching through the eyes of the character. So if you leave the character, the movie continues. The movie has a certain end. Even if the consciousness is not there, James, Justin, Aditya will continue speaking. So the consciousness currently is just watching what is going on through the character's eyes.
I like that. I like the idea that even if the consciousness leaves, our little avatars here keep doing their thing. Something interesting about that.
Maybe if that's why there's so much chaos, it seems sometimes. Maybe consciousness is not paying attention to what's going on, or maybe that's blasphemous or whatever I'm saying. I don't know. So is consciousness at its very core like the oneness of reality? Is it like the only thing that actually is consciousness?
Yeah, that is the source of everything. That is the whatever you're seeing right now, the whole universe. It is just a vibration that is going on inside the consciousness. So there is nothing going on outside the consciousness. That is outside the consciousness, there is nothing, pure silence. So whatever universe you are seeing, whatever dreams, whatever thoughts, everything is going on inside the mind of the consciousness.
On your channel, I'll be honest, there's a lot. Like, I watched a lot of videos. There's a lot of things I'm kind of watching at a distance that I don't fully understand when I'm watching you doing your classes and teaching and all that stuff. It's fascinating to listen to. Is there anything that you're saying on your channel that might be considered like cutting edge that other like people who are more familiar with Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, they're watching it and they're going, I don't know about that. Have you gotten anything like that on your channel or any pushback?
Yeah, so this Sanatana Dharma, that is Hinduism, is misinterpreted a lot. That is, many people don't know what truly is Vishnu, what truly is Shiva, what truly is Parvati, Durga, Kali. They understand it through a perspective of Dvaita. So there are two concepts in Hinduism. One is Dvaita and another is Advaita. So Advaita was taught by Adi Shankaracharya and Dvaita was taught by Madhvacharya. So in Dvaita, what is considered is the deity or the god is separate from the human. So that is what Dvaita tells. God and humans are completely separate and they can never be together. So it's like the lover and the loving can never be one. It is always separate. But in Advaita, it is not like that. It is like I am the God. That is Aham Brahmasmi. I am the God. All the gods that we talk about are inside us. So that is what Advaita tells. This was taught by Adi Shankaracharya. So in Hinduism, it was always a fight between Dvaita and Advaita. That is Adi Shankaracharya and Madhvacharya. So Adi Shankaracharya told that the Kundalini itself is the mother. That is the energy flowing through us is the mother universe, and the consciousness is the father aspect. That is Shiva. The Shiva is the watcher. Like if you see the Marvels, the watcher. So that the watcher is like the consciousness itself, Shiva, the masculine part, whereas the feminine is the Maya creator. So the the Kundalini, that is the energy flowing through our spine, is the mother itself, which is creating desires, creating thoughts, creating all sorts of things. So basically, whatever you're seeing in front of you is the mother's creation, whereas the person who is watching mother's creation is the father. So that is how masculine and feminine is separated by the Advaita. Advaita is I am the God concept. Whereas Dvaita, that is Madhvacharya, told a completely different thing. He told that the Vishnu, that is the dream creator, causal being, is completely separate from the dream elements. That is, we are the dream elements. All the characters are. We can never become him. So that is what Madhvacharya told. Because to become like Vishnu, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of determination. But he came to a conclusion that we as human beings can never become causal being. We can never create a universe like how he does. So that is what Madhvacharya told. But Adi Shankaracharya told that we can become a causal being, we can create universe because we ourselves are the Brahman. So that is the two ideologies fighting with each other, and that is what is happening in every uh, like YouTube channel, every like whichever is uh, spiritual, that is whichever talks about Sanatana Dharma. So
Yeah.
every comment, if you watch, it'll be like a Dvaita follower fighting with the Advaita follower. Yeah,
Uh,
that is it.
well, Aditya, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. We had a great time. This was a great learning experience. Maybe to close things out, you could leave our audience with maybe your overarching theme from your channel, any last words that you want to say, and then you can let them know where they can find you, what you got going on, and all that good stuff.
Okay. So before I conclude, I would like to say that there are four ways of reaching the truth. So one is through bhakti yoga, that is through falling in love. Another is through jnana yoga, that is through self inquiry, that is thinking about who am I, what am I doing here, what is this place all made up of. So that is self inquiry, that is jnana yoga. So that is the second path of knowing the truth through questions. And third path of knowing the truth is karma yoga, that is to do your duty. So whatever character you have been assigned in this life, which may be John, Jason, James, Justin, Aditya, so whoever you are, follow the character's responsibility without expecting any outcomes. That is, don't keep any expectation from the external world. Just do the duty that has been assigned to you. So that is karma yoga. And finally, the Raja Yoga path of reaching the truth is through sadhana. That is holding a japamala and choosing your favorite deity. So if it is Kali, it is Om Klim Mahakalikaya Nama. If it is Krishna, Om Klim Krishnaya Nama. If it is Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. If it is Ganapati, Om Gam Ganapate Nama. So do that continuously for 108 times every day to reach the truth. That is of doing sadhana of your Ishta Devata or the loved one. So these are the four parts of yoga. And Project Kali, the YouTube channel which I am promoting, is always promoting Raja Yoga. That is Raja Yoga, that is the path of sadhana. Sadhana meaning doing meditation every day at 4 a.m. With mantras. That is the mantra of your Ishta Devata, the favorite date. So that is how we reach the truth. So if you are interested in Raja Yoga, you can check my YouTube channel. And thanks, James and Justin, for inviting me on your beautiful channel. Stay spiritual on air. And I have watched some videos where you do the interviews, and it's very good initiative that you have taken to make the Western audience also know about the Eastern concepts. Yeah, thank you for inviting
Thank
me.
you.
And yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
It
thank
was
you.
a blast. We had a great time.